Making a Murderer,
Netflix
and chill. Hello and welcome to another Netflix and chill. Ooh, chill because it's spooky.
No, because it's cold.
Yes, to both accounts. Because we are checking out, what are we checking out? You forget already?
I don't know if there's an A.
The
Haunting of Hill House?
Yes, The Haunting of Hill House, which pretty much everybody has already seen, so by the time you're watching this video, you probably already saw it. But, yeah, this is something that came up and essentially everybody was talking about, so we had to watch it.
Yeah, I was dying to watch it.
Yes.
And I couldn't watch it because you weren't here.
True, yes, because I was at the film festival.
Yeah, I was so close, man.
Now, one of the things about this series that's really kind of cool is it's directed by one person, and that's Mike Flanagan, who is not a newcomer to horror. Yay! So, he's not even a newcomer to Netflix, believe it or not.
I have no idea who he is.
Well, you may know him from Absentia, which played at the Toronto After Dark Film Festival. You may know him from Oculus.
I saw that.
If you saw Ouija, Origin of Evil, I think it was a direct-to-video sequel. Hush.
Oh.
Before I Wake, or the amazing Netflix movie Gerald's Game.
Wow.
So, yes, he's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people kind of wanted to watch this when they heard it was like by Mike. So they actually got somebody good to do. Okay, this could be interesting. So, yeah, he was one of the guy brought in to do this particular series, which was how many episodes?
10.
10? 10 episodes long. So it's a decent amount of episodes. Not
Yeah, it's
short.
not like, oh, it's 3.
Yeah, 3 episodes and you're done. Here, no, we'll get into it later. In terms of what it's about, do you want to?
What do you mean? It's about a haunting. I am not good at this because I feel like I can never say anything because I'm going to say too much.
You just say
It's
the
about a
general thing.
family and a haunting. There you go.
So, it's about this family who the parents essentially flip houses, who buy this gigantic man. This is the thing I don't get. Like, I don't know what they paid for this, but I really want to know.
It wasn't in too bad a shape.
No, because it wasn't in bad a shape, and they were looking to flip this for huge amounts of money
Quickly.
because it was going to eventually lead to them being able to build their forever home, right? But I'm looking at this house and going, this is you're in my forever home. And well, it was like it had that spooky haunted house look, and I like the spooky haunted house look, right? And so yeah, they're looking to flip this house, but of course this house is haunted.
Or is it?
Or is it? Bum bum bum. And so you got the father, the mother, and was it 5 kids? Mm-hmm. 5 kids.
Which at
The
first
youngest
I
ones
was
being
sure.
twins.
Yes.
Right? And so you've got the series takes place both in the past and in the present, and really does a lot of flip-flopping back and forth between the two time zones. And sometimes the times are happening at the same time, but that's another story for another day because we don't want to give too much away. But let's just say there's moments where, you're in the past, moments where you're in the present, and moments where the two shall collide. So, in terms of the cast, chime in. Know you want to.
Why?
Say it. Go for it.
The E.T. guy?
Yeah.
He looked old.
Well, Do you want to be more specific? There's a lot more than one person in E.T.
The dad.
Yes, the dad in this is...
He was Elliot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Elliot. So Henry Thomas, which honestly I got to find out, has he been in anything?
I don't know, because you recognized... I recognized him.
Yeah, you recognize him and you're just like, where have you been? And, wow. Well, apparently he was in Gerald's Game, he was in Ouija Origin of Evil, and yeah, wow, okay, so...
He's done things.
He's been working, but not a lot, just little bits here and there. And oddly enough, he's tended to kind of keep to like darker things, so he's kind of stuck to the horror genre in terms. I mean, Dead Birds. He was in Dead Birds and stuff like that. But it's so sporadic. It's not like he did 10 movies, and then you didn't see him anymore. No, he'd be like one movie, take a break for a year, do another movie, and sometimes not even big parts, and just go in there. So, wow, that's interesting. Now, that would be the mom, right? The mother is played by Kate Siegel, who was in Hush, and
I can't believe I didn't recognize that.
Gerald's Game, and Let's Go Down,
Wow,
and
they've
Ouija
got
Origin
a
of Evil,
Circle of Friends thing going on.
Demon Legacy, Oculus. So, he's clearly working with people he's worked with before. Why? Because that's how you make good movies. When you find good actors and you work well with them, you work with them a lot. Hello, Tim Burton, Johnny Depp. So that's the mother and father. And then I guess we'll go down the kids in order of age. So, and then do you do them as, because they'd be kid actors and then adult. We won't go through I don't think the kids have really been in anything, right, as kid actors, but as the adults versions of them, the eldest is played by Michael Huseman, who has been in quite a lot, but let's see if there's anything that's genre related. Game of Thrones, of course, if you watched that. Nashville. World War Z. Yeah, he was Ellis in that. Trying to think. There's a lot of things. I know him from a lot of things, but none of them are really popping into my head right now. So, must have been Game of Thrones would have been the last thing I saw him in. And then who was the next in age? Was it her? Her, I think, right?
Wow, she looks different.
I think, the next in age would be Elizabeth Reeser, who I'm going to give you two guesses as to which movie she's been in. One would be Ouija Origin of Evil. And in case you missed my Toronto After Dark Film Festival, Nightmare Cinema. But what was the other one? The Twilight Saga, she was in that. Twilight movies as Esme. So that would probably be where most of the genre work she's done has come from. Next up, in terms of age, I'm guessing is that one, Carla Gugino, who was in Gerald's Game. See, Batman versus Superman. She played the ship's voice. That was a big role for her. I love when they put these things in here, right? San Andreas. She played Emma Gaines. If you've seen that crazy movie. Oh, she was Kellor in Man of Steel, the voice. Huh. What do you know? So she's been in a few superhero movies. Our favorite, Mr. Popper's Penguins. Love that movie. Right? No? No?
I love it.
Sarah loves it. She's Amanda in that one. Yeah, Race to Witch Mountain, The Unborn, Watchmen. She's Silk Spectre. I'm guessing you've seen Watchmen. Rise, Bloodhunter, Night at the Museum. She's been in a lot of stuff. And then finally, the last of the kids is... Which one was the last one? Or was that the last one?
Him and her below.
Oh, right there,
I
yeah.
don't know.
So the twins. I guess he was the eldest of the twins, right? I think he was like 10 minutes before her or something like that, or whatever. They were boy and girl. The boy being played by Oliver Jackson Cohen, who I don't know. He's in Emerald City. I haven't watched Emerald City yet. He's in the Dracula TV series from 2013 as Jonathan Harker. I don't think I saw that either. He's in The Raven. He's in Faster, but yeah, he was one of those guys who I thought I knew who he was until I looked him up and I was like, I don't know that I've seen anything you've been in, but why do you look so familiar? So maybe I have seen some of these and I just didn't really recognize it. And then his sister is played by Victoria Pedretti. And she's been in much of nothing. A couple of short films before this, so this would be her big break of sorts. Now, this film, to make it, whether you believe or disbelieve in terms of the ghosts, is it really haunted, is it not, goes down the mental illness road, which is very, very, very common in terms of haunting movies. Often, psych wards and stuff like that. Very, very common. I mean, The Ward, right in the title of the movie is like that. And this one, and everybody seems to have their own little quirks. The mom and one of the daughters apparently kind of have what would you call it? Like a clairvoyance of sorts, like a psychic ability. They can sense things, they can feel things. The youngest boy ends up a drug addict. So nobody believes anything he really sees, says, or does. And just in general, it's mother is considered mentally ill, and it's just one of those things where they basically say, it just runs in the family. Everybody's got a little bit of mental illness, and you just have to deal with it. Some of them are skeptics, some of them are believers. So you have that kind of family dynamic where some of them believe in ghosts and believe in what they saw was ghosts, what they experienced was hauntings. And then others that are completely against that, and they're like, no, it's anything that was there could have been explained away, and that couldn't be explained away was because we're crazy. Our family's crazy. So, any thoughts on the show now that we've essentially told them what it's about and who's in it?
I have a lot of thoughts.
Oh, here they come. Here they come. And action.
Well, I wanted to see it really bad because I like those things about hauntings and ghost stuff, right? And then I was reading that people were saying, oh, you know, I have to watch the next episode right away, like I'm binge watching the whole thing. And,
Yeah.
oh, this is so scary. And I was like, oh, it's scary. Oh, yay, I'm excited. And it was not scary, which disappointed me because it could have been more scary. There was a couple times I was just like, oh, okay. But it was not scary. So I was like, all right, okay. In the beginning, the first episode, I was worried because I thought I'm not going to be able to watch the rest of them because of the, okay, it's today, now it's like years ago, and going back and forth. And I thought, I don't know if I can, like, I'm getting confused, not getting confused, but I don't know if I can keep up with this, like this may bother me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh crap, I really want to watch this, but can I watch it? And it was a lot of, like, I don't know if it's classed as like a drama, but it was very dramatic over the whole thing. So to me it was more of a drama than like horror or whatever, right? I was okay with that. It didn't bother me because I actually really got into it and I wanted to watch the next one. Even though it wasn't scary, I wanted to know what's going to happen with these people and, you know. And it also, what surprised me is, yeah, it was a lot talking about the mental illness thing, but then also the way they were dealing with Luke and the drug addiction thing. I don't think I've really thought that much or seen anything where it's been brought up like so much like that. And like it had me really feeling like, oh my god, like, because they want you to feel certain ways about him, right? And you do. Well, I did anyway, right? I was like, oh geez, right? And then you get a different perspective, right? And I was just like, wow, I'm really thinking about this. And then it made me think, like, God, like, people really deal with this and have family members and how hard that must be. Like, so it was making me think about a lot of stuff, which I wasn't planning on. I just thought, oh, this is going to be fun and watch it. But it really made me think. So I liked it a lot. I got used to the back and forth, and I actually got to the point where I liked it, which was weird. But I did. It's like, okay, yeah, show me this. And what they also did was, the first time you see a scene, you see it. But then later on, they would show you like that scene again, right? But from like something else that's going on, and then you see that take place, right? And then you're like, oh, okay, that's what's going on. That's why that was. And so I liked that. I don't know, the whole, I'm pregnant, so I'm very emotional. But like the whole thing, what's going on, and just thinking about, you know, ghosts of people and, you know, the stuff that happens, like, I liked that.
Yeah, no, it's funny because, yeah, I mean, when you look online and all that kind of stuff, I'd say the majority of people really, really liked it. And were, you know, recommended it, which is why a lot of, you know, everybody was watching it. It's why you probably already seen it. I do have a few people who I know who didn't like it. In fact, they watched a couple episodes and they're like, this is crap. And I get where they're coming from. When it starts off, essentially the first episode starts off with setting up the end climax of you know, the haunting of this house and why this family has left this house. And so a lot of the rest of the film is dealing with, because you have so many different characters and different ages of different people, and what they saw, living in the house and that particular evening, everybody has a different perspective on that. Everybody has experienced different things in this house, and even two people in the same room who experienced something could have experienced it differently. And the series definitely tries to handle that by like Lesley said, you will see, how we as the viewer saw it unfold. Then, a little bit later, you may see it as how the dad thought it, how it unfolded, or one of the kids. Mostly, it's the kids, and then the dad sort of, when you climax at the end of the last few episodes, then he says, "This is what really happened," type thing. You guys were too young to really realize what was going on.
And I'm really glad that they actually put that.
Yeah.
So that
so you knew what was happening. There was some kind of conclusion to it. But yeah, so it's everybody kind of chiming in and you get to see the same sort of scenario, even though they don't really do the same scene, because it usually goes off in a different path, right? So we're here sitting talking and stuff, so you don't see this over and over again, but her perspective and my perspective, right? You will see my perspective, and then I'll get up and go to the kitchen or something like that, and then you'll see me, and she'll have left already or whatever. So she's no longer involved in it. But that one little aspect where we're both together, yes, you get both of our takes on that, and usually there happens to be a ghost of some sort. One of the things about this series is it's a Where's Waldo into Did You Spot the Ghost?
Yeah.
Because there are ghosts hidden throughout.
And I probably missed most of
them. Yeah, I probably missed most. It's one of the things that is kind of fun about the series is it does have this, and some of them are very obvious. They're there for the scare or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of little things, reflections, or in the background or whatever, right?
Because I'm not going to say, but what I'm talking about. We're sitting there watching, and I'm just like, oh, did you see that?
I'd be like, we'd be watching a scene, I'd be like, whoa, and you'd be like, what? You'd be like, what, you didn't see him? And she'd be like, no, I was paying attention to this.
Because I was too focused on...
the conversation. Yeah. Meanwhile, back off in the back corner is somebody doing something, right? So that's one of the fun things about it. It definitely has rewatch potential because of that. I could just go back and rewatch it just to see if I could see the ghosts. But yeah, I will say that the beginning of the series leans more towards the horror haunting aspect, where it plays out drawn tensions. The kids are all they're kind of scared of this house. They're seeing the ghost. You're getting the ghost aspect. So there's a lot more in the first few episodes where they're as kids in the house. That's where you're getting the scary and the horror. When they're as adults, you're getting the, what has happened to them. And of course, this drug problem almost parallels the idea of who believes in the hauntings and who doesn't, because the people in the family who are more along the lines of I don't believe in the hauntings are also the people who are like, I'm done with you. We've given you enough chances, deal with it. Whereas everybody who was more, empathetic, more in tune with the ghost aspect, are more trying to help him and get him over this addiction. And it does play a very, very, very big role in terms of this film and how it affects every character. But yeah, it was interesting to see the career paths that everybody sort of went into after this whole thing, right? Because the kids are all grown up by the time you get this. How much time would pass? Did they say passed?
Oh gosh.
Was that 20, 30 years? 20 to 30?
I would say 20.
20 years, probably. So, one's a writer. One's a funeral home director and mortician. One is a child psychologist. One's a drug addict, and the other.
What was she?
She was a student. She a student?
I don't know what she was doing. I don't remember.
I don't know. Kind of going through the oldest to the youngest. But yeah, it's if you're going into it expecting that it's going to be a ghost story the whole way through, unfortunately, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. Because it does kind of around just before the middle point of the series really just started turning into a family drama of sorts where you're dealing with everybody's different character traits. And they are very, very different. But you don't really notice that at the beginning because you don't have all the pieces. And one of the things, I guess it's good, but the mother and the two eldest daughters, when they're adults, look very similar to the point where at one point we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are we doing like a split personality thing going on? Where did these two people are the same person, aren't they? Like what's going on?
That was after the first episode.
Yeah.
Which is why I was like, I don't know if I can continue because I was like, wait, how many kids are there? Because who was that one? Like what?
We're trying to figure out because, yeah, I guess the middle girl isn't really.
She wasn't
present.
Talked about that. Like you didn't really see her in that first episode. You saw it like everybody else, and then there was another one, and I'm like, wait, what?
So yeah, you get this other long, dark-haired woman, and you're just like, wait, what? What's going on here? And it was a little confusing, but at the same time, I'll give them credit for being able to cast people who tend to look alike, because it gives you that whole family thing, right? They're clearly, these are your daughters type thing, right? And I guess that kind of helps with it. Now, what did you think of young Elliot versus old Elliot? And by young, I mean, dad. Or, like...
He looked really, really old, as present day dad.
Yeah.
And then you shave him and everything, and I was just like, wow, you look a lot younger, but you taped this at the same time.
Well, it's funny when I saw the younger version of him, that's when you can clearly see Elliot,
him. Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
you can see the young version of Dad. He looks like his younger self, as a kid, but at the same time, he looks like him, who's had some plastic surgery, majorly, to actually have that look. But then you get him as old person, and you're like, oh, okay, that's kind of how I expect you to look. And he looks normal. But yeah, I don't know what they were doing, but it looked like he had his face pulled and stuff like that. But yeah, it was it was weird. It was I will say it was a little weird to see him with the two versions of him.
What I really liked about the whole thing was it kind of was in Sixth Sense, right? You're going along with the movie, you're going along with it, and then you see the ending and you're like, oh, that makes sense now, right? And I found that with this, there was so many things. I was like, okay.
Yeah, and it wasn't just one instance at the end, right? There were... Over time, there were multiple points of resolve. I mean, you have like we've said, there's so many characters, and each has their own story that they're telling. And so you have them as kids, you have them as adults, what they remember as kids, and then you have them resolving, whatever it's climax, conclusion. But they're not all at the same time necessarily. Mm-hmm. So in one episode, you could have one character resolve, what was going on, and you'd be like, whoa, okay, that's crazy. But then the story continues. Yeah. Why? Because you have all these other people who have there's stories still to tell or still to resolve or whatever. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. There are some really good camera effects and camera work, and yes, there are scares throughout the series, not necessarily in every single episode. Well, it depends on what you're scared of, I guess. But I would say the beginning and the end are where most of the big scares happen. But a lot of the time, the ghosts they're just kind of there, right? They are another character, if you will. And yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish it had been a little bit more in terms of the scary and less of the drama, but at the same time, I'm not disappointed that it wasn't.
Yeah, the story was good enough, and there was so many different things going on that I was okay with it.
Yeah.
At first, I was just like, "Oh, this is not really scary," but I was into it. Like I didn't want to watch the last episode because that was the last episode.
Yeah, and then it'd be over.
Yeah, but I heard they're doing a second.
Yeah, you kind of know when something's really, really popular that a sequel comes about. I don't know if I want a sequel to this. I feel like it's resolved, but you never know. I mean, some good writing, it could make for a great second story. Who knows, right?
I mean, that family, okay. You could have like some mixing maybe with like a new family, but
I don't know, but I will say the one thing that I was a little bit, yes, it is a ghost story. Yes, it is, all this kind of stuff. But the psychic aspects that they were throwing in there seemed a little weird. It just, I don't know. There's essentially the mom and the daughter know about it and accept it, but then none of the rest of the family, I mean, some of them are just kind of indifferent about it, it seems. They're just like, okay, I don't know if you can or you can't. Others are clearly like, don't believe anything about it. But it just seems so, I don't know. I don't know that it was necessary.
it wasn't necessary.
Right? Like, I mean, I think they could have told the story and it would have been more about, their experiences, what they ended up being. Was it real? Was it not real? But then you throw in that paranormal psychic thing into it and you're just like, well, if that can be there and you are saying that is there, then, you kind of do have to go with, okay, well then it most likely haunted, right? Like it wasn't just all in their heads. If you're gonna believe that, and they do go on, like she counsels kids. Why? Because she can touch them and feel what their traumas are, so she knows what's wrong with them, right? And therefore she can, proceed to help them. But, if you made it so that she didn't have that ability, I think it would have been more the whole idea of, is it haunted? Is it not haunted? Is it mental illness? Is it not mental illness? What is going on here? And that would have played out more. But as it is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a spoiler. It's haunted. It's a haunted house. To the viewer, that's the way it's played out. We see the ghosts. They see the ghosts. It's, as a viewer, I don't think there's any doubt as to really which way it plays.
No.
Right, so, but yeah, gets a recommend from both of us. Do we want to give it a rating?
Out of 5.
Out of 5.
4.5.
4.5. Wow, she really liked it.
Because there was so many things.
That's more than the Hatchet movies.
That's completely different.
Like, I mean, the Hatchet movies up until this point were like her highest ratings.
Because I really got invested in like all the different people,
Different aspects of it, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's.
Were you gonna give it a 3?
No, I was gonna give it a 4.
It would have got a 5 if it was like scary to me. Then yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's a 3.5, and I'm bumping it up to 4 simply because I did like. I liked the location. I liked where it was shot. I liked the house. I liked the ghosts. I liked the fact that it had so many different aspects going on, so there wasn't any one thing you were dealing with.
Like it really kept my interest.
It did.
I didn't touch my phone at all for any episode. It's like, no, I'm watching and I'm paying attention, and that's it. Which normally I'll just be like,
yeah, even on the stuff that she really likes. So yeah, well, what else is there to say, really? You've already seen it. We've seen it now. You know what we think. What do you think? Comment down below, really. I mean, that's all there is. More Netflix and chill. Sure, there's a lot of Netflix original programming, and we got more to watch. Heck, we got a bunch of stuff we've watched and never even reviewed.
Probably because I didn't like it.
Probably. And yet we continue to watch them.
If that's true, then you made me.
Oh, yeah, that's the reason. Anyways, comment down below. Love to hear from you. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.